everyone. I'm here with Petri Räisänen in Thailand, and it's been a pleasure for me to have the time to speak with you about this sacred practice. And I want to start by know what's your take on what is coming for the Ashtanga world.
Of course, now we lost our both gurus, so but the choice in 2009 and now Sharat in 2024. So always when this happens in any kind of tradition, there's some big change and confusion. Have to find other way to continue the teachings and but Ashtanga has been here for a long time already from 1920s, and the Westerners started to learn already 1960s, 1970s. So the information is available, especially that physical side. The asana pranayama is kind of simple. You learn the vinyasa system and alignments and the numbers, and there's many books nowadays. And you can find the information, so you can study, and still many teachers who has lots of information and knowledge. But for sure that we lost now the gurus, we'll start a new time. And also, of course, in Mysore, we will see how they will handle everything. Now I heard that the senior teachers are assisting in the shala, which is maybe the only way how they can do it. Because in the family, there is not enough knowledge. The Jewish family, people are still too young. And then some of the Jewish family members are maybe not in India, or they start to be already kind of older. But like for me, I went to Mysore last time in 2016, so I was already kind of creating a little bit different Ashtanga, the way how I teach, and I met many people who also kind of share a little bit similar view about Ashtanga. So, well, Sharatsi's path on was still like it was hard. It was hard for everyone to lose that base from there, like where people can go and learn, even if I didn't go anymore. But I could really feel it. We were very close with Sharat for a long time, for like 20 years. 1996 I went to Mysore, and then 2016 was the last time. So he's 5 years younger than me, so yeah, he was 25, I was 30. Boys, yeah, young boys. He was he was really young looking, that time. And also, like, what was interesting with Sharat, that because he was assisting Patabi, he didn't talk. Like, he was not the one who was talking to people. He was the one who was following and learning and assisting. So he was always that person. He was not what he became. Like in the beginning, it was really that, like, very humble and kind of always in a good mood, and he's always helping people. It's been a big loss for people who started to practice in the last few years and maybe got authorized by Sharat, or wanted to get authorized by Sharat, or kind of have that connection with the guru where they can find the next teacher, or they still continue in Ashtanga, or maybe they move somewhere else where there's still guru alive. Yeah, there's many questions, but Ashtanga still stays. There's lots of teachers. There's many people who learned even like fifth series. The one thing is that nowadays the senior teachers, but they are not Indian. The Western teacher is teaching in the shala. It's a different feeling. When the teacher is doing the mantra, it's not anymore Indian mantra. It became Western mantra. It is not only bad. I mean, many Western teachers, like, they've been educating themselves in a different way. Like, there's a different hierarchy and there's different authority, and many people has been studying some therapy, yoga, accessible yoga, to teach Ashtanga for people who are like aging, who has pains, injuries, kind of difficult body types for the asanas, some asanas and all. Some Western teachers might have good information about how to continue with this, like a little bit more open. Even Sharat was also doing it in the end. It was just going to allow just this new sequence and kind of open Ashtanga to like people who are not typically like Ashtanga minded that way.
I was going to say that I had the fortune to have his book, The Reminder, the Active Series, and I was very surprised. And actually, the daughter is doing the poses during
Yeah.
in the whole book. And
Yeah.
it's interesting that I feel like we go back to the roots of what yoga chikiৎসা means,
Yeah.
which is yoga therapy, and
Yeah.
that's been your approach also to here of Ashtanga, practice of yoga in general, that we have missed in certain ways of teaching, or if sticking to certain traditions is making us missing the angle of this.
Yeah, definitely. It's supposed to be healing practice and therapy instead of this dogmatic asana practice, what it became many times. Because in Indian tradition, there's such a high hierarchy. You know, the Brahmin teacher, and then like the student who is like ignorant and stupid, kind of like that's the starting point. And lazy, they also call it. You know, in India, many times they say the student is lazy. So you have to be strict and tough because the student is lazy and a little bit ignorant. So I think there's two things at the same time. There's this heavy hierarchy. Even if there was an understanding about therapy yoga, like Krishmacharya was like an amazing understanding about therapy. But because he was so tough and strict, he also hurt people. At the same time, he wanted to heal people, but because he was so like violent. No, this was in the beginning, like 20s, 30s, 40s. He was extremely violent teacher. You can listen to BK Iyengar's interviews, and he's like, he left from Mysore because he was and almost commit suicide because he was so hurt. Krishmacharya had these interviews with people like, what do you want? What is your like reason why you're here? What do you want to do yoga and all? But when he started to teach, the hierarchy came up a little bit like Iyengar, and it became a little like too tough. I like start to beat up people and slap them and shout. So yeah, the information has been there in India, of course. Like Krishmacharya said that he knew 3,000 poses, which is crazy because we only do about 200 in Ashtanga. So the healing method has been available, but it has been difficult for the Indian teachers to teach it because they've been so tough even from this more modern time of Ashtanga that many people get injured. Knee injuries and back injuries and shoulder injuries and hip injuries and like so many.
That was another topic I want to touch upon, and which is the authority. And what is the responsibility of the student also, that they have authority over their bodies too, right? Probably is more important than the authority of the teacher and the abuses that happen, right? So how could be a very healthy relationship with that teaching authority and the authority that I can have over my body?
Because authority can come from the knowledge and understanding. The students knows that that person knows. So the authority is natural. Then there is that other kind of authority, which comes from that kind of idea of hierarchy. The teacher is here and then the student is here. So there's that inequality already from the beginning. It makes the authority harmful, not natural. So it becomes higher than you. I really like that feeling that the teacher is actually not bringing themselves up in the class, but like give that power to the student to also decide what they want. Powering the student instead of powering the teacher. And making the teacher like kind of more egocentric. Nobody can always do the right thing. But yeah, not to bring those crises into the yoga sala, not to bring those patterns of bad behaviors or something. Sometimes it's just so beautiful. People feel free enough to be themselves. Whole space becomes this.
Yeah, we have beautiful experience in these last weeks of pre-led classes now, which is are in your personal practice, in your mat, very focused. But there is this collective energy of the Shanga, and most of us sometimes follows, right? So when we have this chance, it's something that it feels different and energizing. Even though the yoga practice and the spiritual path sometimes is qualified or defined as a solo path, right? How important is the Shanga?
In Ashtanga, we have the workshops and retreat, place where people do the same. Something has to be similar in the mind. That's one thing. So even that already brings people together. We all creating that energy to the shala. Human being need other human beings. And when people start to do Ashtanga, then people move at the same time. It creates a special, really feel like I'm not alone, I'm like part of some kind of movement. Because Ashtanga or yoga itself changes people. So sometimes you lose your old friends. And from yoga you get a new friend. We went to Mysore in 1996. So powerful experience. Go to the shala and it was like the line all the way to the third floor, slowly getting down, like step by step, and going to the shala. Now I'm part of something really big.
Teaching of Ashtanga, traditionally people focus a lot in asanas, right? And how under that structure of focusing the practice on asana, we're helping to diminish the ego. Of course, the asanas are opening a door to something else, but sometimes people get stuck in the asanas and forget what else is behind.
I've been saying that there was a few mistakes what Patavi chose to. One mistake I think was after the 1970s he stopped teaching pranayama for primary sessions and the second session. And the pranayama what he was teaching after the 1970s was really kind of tough. You know, it was long. There was no option. 6 different pranayamas, this kind of sequence. It was just so hard for the Western students that maybe they didn't have time to do that 1 hour. Asana already takes about 1.5 hours. We kind of lost the connection to pranayama. If you teach pranayama for the beginners or for the primary stage people, it has to be easier. And if somebody's advanced, they can do a little longer. Asana can also be very meditative. Even in asana, we have pranayama. We breathe control. We have a control breath. But if you do the asana in a good way, it can give a lot. Some people can even make it more like religious and more like a ritual. And some people can do mantras during the asana. But I think the pranayama should be there. Meditations here, it works very, very well with asana. Because it's similar body awareness and in a very deep way. Say the mind is in the same place. Same awareness.
So Ashtanga itself is a philosophy system. It's like obviously themes and a huge background and a strong core of teaching from the past, even from the Vedas. But what do you think are current practices that can fit Ashtanga, that can still be aligned with what we want to teach in this core system? Anjali, but you give the example of Vipassana, but
I think Patanjali already went very close to the Buddhism. I have a feeling when I read Yoga Sutra that it's really like very, very close to the Buddhism. It's not really religious text, it's about the pranava. But even the Om is just used to like focus the mind, experience yourself, or realize yourself. Yeah, it's really about mind work. No, there was this Opet Ivare who said that Buddha was Patanjali's student. Because it's so close. It's so super close. And also what we learned last week was all this deity visualization. Makes it really like close to the Hinduism. In the both ways, you know, like the Yoga Sutra is very close to the Buddhism, but also like the Buddhist visualizations, the deities and all the medicine Buddhas and all this, it becomes very close to the Hinduism. Also mind work. There's lots of things what you can do. There's lots of healing techniques, all different kind of energy healing.
how deep you can go in the knowledge of the body. When we sometimes enter into some practices of meditation, like even when we connect with the body, we understand many things about the mind.
I think we are all at the same time. We are the body, we are the mind, but we are also the spirit. It really depends what is your mind, which state you're experiencing. Are you experiencing the bliss? Are you experiencing your mind or are you experiencing your body? They all exist at the same time. We can't say that we don't have body. We can't really say we don't have mind. And we can't say that we are not the spirit. When you're in a deep meditation, of course, even union. Right?
Not get very picky about alignment things and this is right, this is wrong. How we really become union? Maybe we have already a common language, right? But sometimes the way to share that language it becomes like really, secluded in a way. Like everyone wants to teach the way and there's the right way. So how we come to this communion that's so important.
The human being has always competition. Avoid it. We can understand it and we can see it. I don't think we can avoid it. You know, when you see somebody doing, of course, it can inspire. We compare. Sometimes we feel challenging, sometimes also with ourselves. I'm competitive with yourself. Like, can I breathe longer? I really like want to do 40 seconds. It's just we all the time we get stuck with this. Like, I've seen the different styles and like what we did in the 90s, almost nobody does anymore. Watabe was like breathe, breathe. It was like you wanted to have this like very heavy breath. It was like breathe with the sound. It was like shouting, like breathe with the sound. Nowadays, like nobody breathes with the sound anymore. Like that intensity of the practice in the 90s, I don't think there's maybe nobody doing it anymore. And then the like what they used to be in the 70s, the round back forward bends, head to the knee poses, different drishtis, different sequences. It was 4 sequences, now it's 6 sequences, different order of the poses and all. I think the teachers really should see the history of Ashtanga and understand that whatever people are doing, they are practicing Ashtanga and so much more tolerance. Like I put the time for the going to Mysore. I put my money to go to the Mysore. I put like many years for my practice and this is the right way. So it's a very typical human error in the mind that I am right, which they might say like with the religions or something. They might say that, okay, oh, Jesus, like God is not Christian or something, or God is not Islam. That don't own the God, but then they own the practice. They own that, what they learn, and there's no tolerance. They don't see that. It puts so much importance for your own mind. What do you think is right? Not thinking at all that there is many right, not so much wrong at all. Every teacher is teaching according to what they. Even if we pick up like two teachers who are like strict dogmatic traditional, they still teach differently.
Even when we think we're right, we reach a limit and we don't find more place to grow I mean, in the biggest scheme of what a yogi is, we're just giving beautiful steps in the path of yoga, but these are huge things to commit in life. So it's good to understand that we will never reach a limit or we will never entirely right.
But it's also typical for the younger teachers that the mind is more narrow because they haven't experienced so much in life. And the young mind can be also radical, more radical than maybe a little bit older who've seen more. The teachers can also become so alone when they start to teach their own methods. They think they are right. Nobody else is right. My method is the best method in the world. This is the original what Patabichars meant, or Surat meant. But they think that they know the truth. They get stuck with that, their own mind, and that their own truth. They become really lonely because they don't have any connection to any other teacher anymore because they are so right. But this is what we are trying to do. We try to gather the teachers and we try to collaborate. And like last summer we did this, David Svensson and Scott Johnson and me. It's like one from 1970s, one from 1980s, and one from 1990s. They're like three different minds from the different times. And beautiful.
I think that's been one of the beautiful things that there are many teachers and different inputs and
that people have to learn. Two assistants who were assistants a year ago, they started to teach, opened their own shala. Amazing.
Yeah.
Like 3 years ago, they were just practicing, and they started to become interested about teaching. Touch, they came to assist. They did some workshops. Then they open the shala. Let people to be themselves. They don't have to follow your. And there's the evolution is moving all the time. In the 90s, the adjustments were like standing on the student, sitting on the student, lying on the student, doing pose on the student, lifting the student up and like doing this kind of rolasana and dhanurasana and all. Nobody's doing those anymore. Like really, there's an evolution moving. Now there's a different styles. Like Sarat didn't want to do forward bend after the back bend from the lower back. He only did on the upper back. So now all these Sarat teachers, they all do the adjustment from the upper back, not the lower back at all. So this way the evolution is moving. It's like little trends. In the 1990s, the change from 90s to these days is huge. But you know, if you've been practicing Ashtanga for 5 years, you went to Mysore with Surat, you don't see those changes. At the same time, people can do a little different according like what they learn. Teachers can be tolerant. Let them do. Some people want to do a little bit more different. Really, like it inspires people. It doesn't take anything out from them. It can really inspire people to be like, okay, I'm empowered, I'm heard. There's different opinions about that. Some people say like, oh, you lazy. Use this laziness, which is used a lot in India. Even in Hatha Yoga, Yoga Sutra also has laziness is one of the obstacles. Yeah, it's good to have a little bit freedom.
A pleasure to be talking with you, and actually this week's practicing.
Thank you for coming.
Very grateful for that too. I hope that your listeners watch this video feel inspired for your practice, engaging with your yoga, because